Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of In the Booth, where we interview online voice actors and actresses of machinimas, fan dubs, a Brit series, or any online web series or video games. I'm your host, JD Carr, and today our guest is Darius T. Jackson, or Windlight Hub. So, thanks again for taking the time out of your day to do this little interview.
Thank you for having me on board. Really happy to be a part of it.
No problem. We've been trying to schedule this for like a while, but personal stuff has been getting in the way and all that.
Yeah, like 3 months. 3 months until...
Yeah, 3 months.
Yeah, we didn't know that everything that was going to happen over the course of a couple months were going to happen. So here we are. So that's great.
Yeah. So I guess first things first, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right. So Darius T. Jackson. I've been voice acting for about 7 to 8 years in the online community. Which I mean, like, started off when I was like really young, and then over time just kind of grew into everything. And been acting like in theater and whatnot for like about, I think, around the same amount of time, if not like just 7 years. So it's been a journey, honestly. But I mean, I've just been doing it for a while, and thankfully I've been able to be a part of some like online games and all these different things and all these really cool projects, and I've been able to work with like some really cool people. So it's been nice.
What gave you the inspiration to get into acting in general?
Man, I think as far as acting goes, I think it was something I kind of always wanted to do. You know, it wasn't like something where I was just like, I had an experience. It was like, I just want to do this. It was just something that I think, like, when I was younger, I saw a lot of it. And I remember seeing the behind the scenes of a lot of things. And I was just like, I want to be a part of stuff like that when I'm older. You know, I was just like, I would see people in like reels or whatnot. And just like, that looks fun to be a part of sets and to play pretend, essentially. And then that kind of, over time, I guess, transformed, and I wanted to be a part of the different mediums within acting. So theater, film, voice acting. So it just sort of clicked with me. I don't think anything else really clicked as much as acting did for me.
What got you into voice acting? Or I guess what inspired you to pick up a mic and start voice acting?
Man, I'll say that what got me into it was like just playing video games a lot.
Yes.
For me, I think it was, I think we talked about this briefly. For me, it was seeing a lot of the voices in like Halo, like getting started playing that.
The little behind the scenes.
Yeah, I remember seeing the behind the scenes and all that, and I was just like, that looks fun. I was like, that looks fun.
It does.
And another one, this is a big one for me, was Uncharted. And
yes.
That whole series, like Nolan North is Nathan Drake, and everybody that was involved in that. It was just one of those things that kind of really propelled me into that like side of things. Granted, like when I first started off, I didn't think I was ever gonna like go the area that I was gonna go. So like when I first started, did a lot of just like cool fan projects, well, what I considered to be cool at that time.
Right, yeah.
But it was like a lot of like bridges and whatnot. But yeah, over time it was just like something that I wanted to always get better at. So like a lot of people would normally hop in and then they'd be like, yeah, you know what, I'm done with it. It's a phase, hobby, whatever. But for me, it was just something that I continuously just wanted to keep kind of working on to see where it was going to end up. And I mean, over the last 5 years, it's been like a really cool thing. So, I mean, seeing just where I started to where I am now, it's like, you know, my motivation has completely changed, but how I got into it, like, honestly stayed the same for me.
So sweet. So, what was your first ever voice role or project you ever been in, if you can't remember?
Oh my God. I don't even think I like remember, to be honest. I think it was the one that I can remember. It was a Halo. It was a Halo Machinima, from like 2012.
Oh wow.
Like that far back. I was 11. I made this. I was in this with a couple of friends and whatnot. It's just people that I knew on Xbox at the time. This is before I got deeper into VA, but yeah, I had done this, and I think around that time, like while I was 11, I was also like looking into like stop motion animation and a lot of what people were doing then. So those are like a lot of my first roles technically, and I mean I had a lot of fun doing them. It was just like it just felt like different for me at the time, and I think over time it just kind of just evolved and it just spiraled. But I can kind of remember, I don't remember the name of the character, but I can remember that it was a Halo Machinima, and it was way before my voice even broke. And if you were to ever stumble upon it, you probably wouldn't even know it's me. It's that different. So yeah,
time to do a search.
Oh God, I fear anyone actually finding it at any point. I'm like, oh God, no, please.
And like the question is it even still up?
To be honest, I have no idea. Like I think it might be. I'm not sure. It might be. It's somewhere out there. That's if the name didn't change. That's if it's not like just straight up just private it or something. We don't know.
All right.
But I pray no one ever finds it. It would be the most painful experience for me ever.
From then till now, what has been your favorite role or roles that you have been a part of? It could be either original projects, fan projects, or anything else of that matter. I'll let you have fun with this.
Man, that's a lot. Because some of these characters are like my babies right now. Almost. It's like choosing your favorite child out of a group. It's like, oh no. It's like, this is my kid and that's my kid. But I gotta choose one over the other.
I mean, you have multiple if you want. Don't worry. This is all about you. Don't worry about that.
I think... Man, I gotta say that there's a lot of appreciation I think I have for one of the, like, I think my first professional role, which is Draken in Grain Guilds.
Ooh.
Which is like a strategy, like RPG kind of game. Very, very similar to like Fire Emblem and all of that. But this character was like the first one I had ever booked professionally, and like, I don't know, that one just sits with me. And granted, while it wasn't fully voice acted, it is something that I can kind of look back at and feel really happy about being a part of. But I think most recently there's a role that I've been working on for a bit, which is Nox from Divine Speaker, which that game has been like really, really amazing to be a part of because of the amount of layers that have been added to that game over time, and the people that are part of that have been just building that world for so long. So I think playing that character and stepping into that world and kind of introducing like this story in a sense to a new side of that world has been like really nice. And I know I'm being vague, but gotta be careful. So it's just been like really, like, it's been a really, I don't know, it's just been a really good thing to be a part of that story because of what they've been trying to tell and what we've been doing with that character in particular. So I'm really, I think I've had a lot of fun with him. But more recently, I've had a lot of fun with this other project, which is like an animation called Red Love Riot.
Ooh.
And for that, I play Itsuki, who's like the kind of the main, like, bassist, drummer, one of those two.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a minute. But he's really kind of laid back and really cool and really nice. For me, like, having an appreciation for like rock and whatnot, like,
yeah,
playing that role was like, it just fit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just like really, I like that story and where it's going, but that character just stuck with me. And I think out of all the characters I've played, that one so far has to be my favorite.
Sweet.
It's just really fun.
Nice. All right, so I'm guessing since you've been in a whole bunch of projects, I would assume you probably had some fun recording stories. So, any particular, I guess, bloopers or anything that happened inside the booth while recording lines? Like any fond memories or funny, hilarious moments that happened to you while recording lines?
So I'm like the king of having some form of a blooper, no matter what I'm doing. And it's not even just like a simple screw up. It's like it could be anywhere from like I don't know, like a bird flying into my window or like something like a lawnmower coming on at specific times, which I think everyone has experienced at some point. But it's I think this one hurts. This one really hurts. This one is a lot more recent. I mean, there's plenty out there, but this one is recent, so I'll throw this out. So just recently, I ended up making a PVC vocal booth because I've needed a space to record. Beforehand, I was just using blanket forts. Whoa. But this time I was like, okay, I'm gonna make a pretty decent vocal booth that's dedicated to doing a lot of the things I needed to do. So I built it. It was like 5 feet by 5 feet. It's a pretty big booth.
Right.
And I was recording, and I was recording for a game, right? And in the middle of us like recording lines, I didn't realize that the top section of the booth was kind of like a little
open,
little not supported.
Oh, okay, never mind.
So while we're recording, right, I'm doing efforts, and when I do efforts, I'm like really physical.
Yeah.
So like I try to like really move around and whatnot. And in the midst of me doing this, I ended up hitting a section of the booth, section of one of the supports on accident. My finger or whatever, like my knuckle, hit it, and I'm recording. This thing caves in on me while recording.
Were you okay?
I'm good.
Okay.
I was fine. It just this thing just fell, and I was like, oh my God. And I had to like, my director was worried at the time. He's like, are you all right? I'm like, I'm good. I just didn't think this thing was going to fall on me.
Take five.
And we we had to halt the whole session at that point.
Damn.
And basically we, at that moment I was like there's a whole bit of recording where I'm just trying to like move everything. I'm like, this is like rubble being crushed under, like over me and stuff. And I'm like, it sucked. But that was a blooper that hurt. But that also was a blooper that like at the same time was just like, you know what? This is fun. This is a funny thing. I'm not going to be too serious about it. We rescheduled and like recorded everything. So it was all fine. Good. But yeah, that sucked. There's been a couple of bloopers, but that's one that
sticks
that's
out.
A big memory that sticks with me.
Nice. All right, so I'm guessing you probably played like a lot of video games, watched a lot of TV shows, movies, anime, and all that, right? Alrighty, here's a fun one for you. So, who are your favorite voice actors and actresses? I'll let you have fun with this one too.
Oh my God!
You can have as many as you want. Go ahead. This is all you.
We will go down like a whole list of like 40 people. We'll just scroll down and be like, this person, this person, and this person. But yeah, no, I think, to be 100%, I think a lot of the people that have really, really stood out for me, most recently have been, I don't know, I'm an old head, technically speaking. It's weird. Like 2000s voice actors are like what I remember, in comparison to a lot of the newer people that are out right now. But yeah, I don't know if it's changed. I think it's been the same. I think actors like Troy Baker, Matt Mercer, Laura Bailey, Kari Wahlgren, a couple of different people have like been, they've just stood out to me. And for different reasons. And those are the people that are always going to be like at the top for me in terms of inspiring me to really like act. So I don't know. I mean, there's plenty of other people out there, but those were like their performances and a lot of things like really inspired me to push myself, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to figure out if there's anyone recently. There's too many people recently, and I would go down like a whole list, and I would feel bad for not covering certain people. But I do think a lot of voice actors that are currently big inspirations, that are like my favorites at the moment, are just people that I work with,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and people that I've gotten the chance to like talk to and see some of these people go out and end up in like anime and whatnot. Like that's cool. So I mean, there's a whole list of people for that, but so I don't want to just start naming people and leaving some people out because I would feel bad.
That's good.
But
That's fine.
yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that.
All right. So, seeing as how you've been voice acting for a very long time, is there like a specific type of voice that you haven't done that you really want to do for any type of project?
Man, there's a few. So I've always been cast as the villain for the most part. Like people will always use a section of my voice, and like some of the times it's not even like my like natural speaking voice. Really, it'll be like it'll be like a raspier side, or a just a low, like a really low voice that they want me to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have higher voices that I don't get the chance to really bring out, and it would like a lot of people are a little surprised when they hear it because like I'm like a baritone bass to some, like if I like remember looking down at my like vocal range with
Right.
an instructor. So I just like kind of throwing out a couple of like there are a couple of voices I do have. I used to be able to do a bit of like an anime protag-esque voice. I probably lost it, to be honest, but that was one that I was able to do for a bit. But yeah, there's a higher voice that I haven't had the chance to do. So I mean, hey, I throw it out at times, and people get surprised, but like that's about it. Like I am happy where with a lot of the characters I've been able to play. I'm happy with where I'm at vocally with what people have been giving me. I've just gotten lucky, I guess, but yeah, like I mean, besides like using more of my higher range or using accents, that's about it.
All right.
I don't really think there's anything else out there.
Cool. Let's talk about the online voice acting community. How has it been like over the past several years of being in the online voice actor community?
Man, like I think as I said in the beginning, it's been like a journey of figuring out like a lot of different things. Because like over time, you know, you've been able to see like this community evolve over like almost a decade. But I've just been able to like meet a lot of different people, and I've been able to like really see this community like slowly shape into something that's more professional, which is really nice. But I think my experience in the online VA community has always been like it's been good for the most part. I don't think I've really had any issues with people. But honestly, I've just been more so happy to see a lot of the people coming into the community.
Mm-hmm.
And like my experience has been based off of the idea of other people, and like you know gaining something in terms of like experience or learning lessons from other people, and hearing other people's like stories and whatnot. Like that's been a huge part of this community, because I mean it's a really small community, but it's a really big community at the same time. And I
Right.
think seeing the evolution, especially like with how you mentioned like last year, we're slowly veering into like this, I guess, like we're veering into this idea where like a lot of people are able to now record stuff like anime from home,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which
Like
is
everything's
like really
becoming all
cool,
remote
'cause-
nowadays.
right? It's all remote, And, for a lot of the people that, that have always wanted to record, right? And maybe they weren't able to record because they weren't able to record from like a particular location, or they couldn't do certain things. Now they can do that. And that's always going to be amazing to me. The idea that this pandemic has brought people from like different studios that probably thought they wouldn't even honestly have even worked together, would even work together in general. Like that's insane. Or people that are literally all the way across the world in like Australia able to work with like Funimation or like Sound Cadence. Like that's a big deal. And I'm kind of hoping that sticks.
There's just like a whole lot of networking going on. Like even as we speak, like there's still like a whole lot of networking going on behind the scenes. It's like you never know who's gonna be like on this project here, or like this project that's coming up later on in the coming months.
Right. There's no telling.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing that I've noticed too is that like, when the pandemic first happened, it shut down a lot of opportunities that people had in film or theater. So now we have a lot of those actors taking note of voice acting. And now a lot of those people are kind of like transitioning over to this side of acting, and it's been a really cool thing to see like a lot of people hop in and instantly just do their thing, and I've been really happy to see the growth of a lot of people within the community. My own experience has been great. I've met some cool people. I've managed to form like really good relationships on here with some really cool people, be a part of cool stuff with them, create content. Like that's always like going to be like a thing that I think I have fun with in like the long run.
Is there anything that you want to do in the future in terms of voice acting content? Like, I don't know, like covers or any other like side projects or personal projects or even upcoming projects? But, of course with NDA, you can't say, but like,
There's a zipper for certain things. Covers, I'm actually happy that you mentioned that. That is something that I have been thinking about doing. Coming from like a bit of a musical theater background, I've been curious about singing a little bit. So we'll see if that happens in the future. I might want to take some lessons beforehand just to properly be trained with all of that. But yeah, no, in terms of VO, I think big goals right now have been to honestly like book a couple of things and like couple of like talent a couple of different like agencies and whatnot. I'm looking into an agency within the near future, and a couple of different things, but I think overall a lot of the goals that I have in the long run are like LA jobs, to be able to do something that's mocap, to be able to do voice work for like a 3D animation and all this kind of stuff, just at this moment like simple things. But I want to start off with like a couple of simple goals and then work my way up.
Right.
A lot of the goals I had like my first year, I didn't expect to like book any of those things, and a lot of the goals I had like right there in the beginning, I broke by the end of that year, and I was like, what? So I think like it's been really difficult to kind of formulate like what kind of projects I want to be on now. So I've just been trying to sort of come up with a list and figure things out as I go.
All right.
But yeah, like honestly, it's just in the long run, just figuring out like different goals. But end goal is definitely triple A, being a triple A video game as possibly like a lead. Or a main supporting character or something like that. So we'll see. We'll see within the next 5 years or so.
Cool. You probably hear this question at a whole lot of job interviews. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh man. To be honest, I don't know. Like I normally I would have an answer for that, but like I feel like maybe it's just because of the pandemic happening that I've just been like, I'm not 100% sure, because I think last year was able to sort of tell me that that nothing is ever guaranteed necessarily, and that we can plan out stuff, but it's not necessarily going to go the way we think it will. So looking at it, I mean, in 5 years, hopefully booking a lot. Hopefully I will have started a lot of things in terms of like the professional side of acting, and we'll just have to see. I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty there, but I mean, hopefully can get into something like an anime. Hopefully I can do like some short films or like get into a movie or something. We'll see. Honestly, there's no telling.
Alright, well, I'm guessing we're nearing the end here, so Darius, do you have any, I guess, final words or I guess tips to anyone that wants to become an online voice actor and or actress?
Yeah, the best thing I think I can say is that if you're ever planning on getting into acting, VA more so, I would say like definitely learn from other people around you. Like with me, like when I first started, it was just basically mimicking other actors. Not to say that you have to continually do that over time, but like getting an idea of what certain people are doing. A big one though is just having experience, So jump in, do it whenever you feel like. If you feel like you want to do this, go in. Don't worry about whether or not you have a quote unquote good voice. Don't worry about any of that. Just hop in. If you want to have fun doing this, do it. And if you're not having fun acting, then I don't really know at that point. It's just really honestly go in and be willing to create something. I think we talked about this earlier, but the biggest thing about acting for us was that like when we first started, it was just honestly just first getting into it. You grab a mic, you record something, and then you just hope it goes anywhere. And that's kind of the case now. I mean, don't look at all of the people currently with all these professional setups. Just focus on yourself, focus on what you want to do, and then grow over time. That's all you have to worry about. You just start off, do it. You'll get where you want to go.
Wise words, wise words. All right, well, Darius, thank you for taking the time out of your day to do this little interview. It was a pleasure having you on here.
It was a pleasure being on here, man. This is great.
Nice. Alrighty, well, this concludes this episode of In the Booth. So, as always, I'm your host, JD Carr, and until next time, bye, guys.
See ya.